Hi, my name is Horace, and I'm originally from Belgium. I always tell people that I'm a Euromut because my dad's French, my mom's Dutch, and so I'm an immigrant. I immigrated to Belgium. I was born there. I went to Jesuit school, which is like Catholic school, for really all I can remember. I was about 6 years old when I started, all the way till I was 18. And I don't think I thought much about God. Maybe early on at school I learned a little bit about. We didn't talk a lot about it at home. So when I was about 13 years old, I discovered polo, which is hockey on a horse, and that became my passion, my obsession. And I think any thought of God at that time really was squeezed out. I'm thinking from that time on, there was no room for God in my life anymore. It became my purpose for living. And so really from I was about 13, 14, I started playing more and more, and I made it my goal that I want to be a professional polo player. So I moved to Argentina to train and to become better at polo, and then from there on I had the opportunity to move to the US to play professionally, and loved every single part of it. And to me it was a dream come true. Ended up getting married at a young age. I was about 20, 21 years old. And frankly, I was not even close to being marriage material. On the polo side, things were going pretty good. I ended up getting hired to play in a team in Tennessee. And it was a great opportunity. Again, it was a dream come true. At the same time, the marriage was really on the rocks. And I was also bringing that later on to the season into my team. And I don't know really what totally happened, but I was kind of fed up. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to walk away from the team. And I just need a break, and so went to Columbus and played over here till the end of the season. And I'm thinking like, okay, I'm gonna maybe take some time off, and maybe there's something like wrong with me that I just need to work on myself, and I don't know why, you know, this marriage thing is not working very good. And kind of what happened is that my whole world to me was polo. And while I took a break over here, polo wasn't there. And so it forced me to start to really look into myself and think about what really matters in life. And when the things that mattered to me the most were stripped away, it was unsettling. And at that time, which my brother-in-law was the pastor, that he started meeting with me and inviting me to different forums. Also where I could just express my questions openly. I was faced with the question that if this whole thing is true, if God is true, if God exists, if Jesus is real, if He can be known, if that is all true, then somehow this would apply to me too. This is not just an American thing. This is for everybody. And so I remember one day acknowledging to my former brother-in-law that, man, it's like, I'm just not well. Whatever I thought I built is kind of falling apart. The marriage is falling apart. And I called him and I said, if Jesus is real, like you say He is, and if I can know Him, I need Him. And so that's really my prayer. It was not like now I believed. It was simply like, God, if you're real, then I need to know You, and I want to know You. And I'd like to tell you that, once I made that step of faith, once I accepted Christ into my life, that now everything went perfect and everything got healed back up, and it's a road going up. And actually, it's pretty much the opposite that happened. My whole life ended up actually totally falling apart. And I remember going to a friend and saying, where do you get to know more about God? Because I didn't grow up really going to church or anything like that. So they told me about seminary or Bible college, and literally in a few weeks later I ended up in a Bible college, kept learning and growing, and it was interesting that as much as polo was an obsession, a passion, I literally had shut down that door in my life. The marriage was shut, polo was shut, everything was closed off, and it was a new chapter in my life. I loved every minute of Bible college. It was a great experience, and part of graduating was to do an internship. So I ended up at this church in Pataskala, Ohio to do this internship, and that's where my whole second chapter of my life really started, where I really ended up loving to work with teenagers, and that's also where I met my wife and Tina, and we started doing youth ministry together, and had no intention of actually staying at that church, but ended up staying there for almost 7 years. started raising a family, and really, I feel like God gave me another chance. God was so gracious to me to really fulfill this desire to have a family, to have a loving wife. While in youth ministry, really had the sense that, the gospel, it's got to be true for all people in all places and all times. So what about all the people in Belgium? I didn't know anybody in Belgium that knew Christ. So for about 5 years, we moved our family back to Belgium and did mission work over there and worked with university students. And it's there that really God started working on another part of my life, and it's really to kind of overcome some of the fears and some of the shame that was still there that I hadn't dealt with. As clear as it could be, I felt that God was telling me, just, do you remember what I gave you as a child? This passion for horses, this passion for the sport of polo, and how you loved it, and how it was life-giving to you. And yes, you made it a God. You changed the plan. It was never meant to be like that, but it's something that I gave you. And really, I shut down that whole part of my life because of pain, because of some dumb decisions that I made in the sport, like quitting my team, but also a failed marriage at that time. All that was kind of in the same pot. It was too painful to go back to it. And I felt that God was really telling me, it's time to be courageous. It's time to be brave. It's time to not let your past fears and failures dictate your whole future. And by the way, you're telling everybody else to do that. You're telling everybody else to be brave and to discover their passions, and you're not doing that. One night I told Tina, I said, hey, what do you think if we got back into polo? Well, she did not know me into polo, so this was all foreign to her. And she was like, sure. So moving back to Columbus has been an incredible journey of faith to start this polo business, and starting with just a couple horses and some generous people who just believed in it and just allowed us to start, all the way to where we are today, is where we have a full running club and a farm that literally landed in our lap by, I can't even explain totally how it all happened, but just some people that just really gave us a chance. All I can say is that God really paved the way for us, and we really sensed the wind behind us, and it's been an incredible journey for us. It's amazing for us to do this as a family. All our kids are involved. This is very much a family business, and our hearts is that as we interact with people, that yes, we're very much a business, but we want to influence people for Christ. We want people to know that really polo is pretty awesome. It's a rush, but it doesn't compare to knowing Christ. And if all you have is the toys and the horses and you don't have Christ, you miss all of it. And so we want people to know Jesus, both here and around the globe. And so that's been my story. My story is not a story of, hey, I got it all together and I believe everything and now I'm a Christian. It was really a story of just a broken person, self-absorbed, that fell flat on his face and turning to God and saying, God, I need you. And God picked me back up and gave me a chance. And learning to walk with Jesus every single day is a journey. It's not a destination, it's a journey. And that is the great adventure of life. And so just want to encourage you with that, wherever you are in your journey with Jesus. If you're far away from Him, you're close to Him, give Him a chance in your life, like you will not regret it.